Personally, well, I did.
What were you thinking before the game? Were you like?
I was taking a point. It's only when it was back.
Last time they conceded 6 against Man City.
We got 3 though, at least.
That was when we were top of the league.
Exactly.
Last season we were playing well.
I think we were top of the league when we played Chelsea, lost 6-0, weren't we?
Yeah.
No, but I think the performance, I loved how we played. I loved the fact that we accepted the fact that we were playing a better team than us, and we accepted that we...
Yeah, you guys were so disciplined, right? It was just it was like watching a different team. It wasn't the Arsenal that we're all used to.
It was very surprising and so refreshing for the Arsenal fans, because it's what they've been waiting for so long. And I thought before the game, if we played with a high line like we've done for last year and this season at times,
I mean,
we would have got
Santi Cazorla was on fire, and so was Giroud.
To be honest, David, Cazorla's been playing for last month.
In your opinion, who was man of the match?
Cazorla.
Cazorla was fantastic, and all the defenders were very good as well.
Coquelin, you've got to give Coquelin a mention because he protected our back four very well, and Giroud obviously held the line really well, and he was a good outlet, and he wouldn't let himself get bullied by company, which was probably his best performance this season, Giroud. Seriously, so.
I mean, there was the incident in the shower with the cigarette. I mean, Wenger's not played that goalie since the incident.
Well, he said he's dropped him because of his form and not because of that incident. Yeah, and it's great to see.
Well, maybe it's because he smokes too many fags. Who knows?
How do you like cigarette?
Maybe he can't keep up anymore.
How do you like cigarette in the shower?
Well,
I don't really understand it. It's crazy, these stories that come out. I mean, but why on earth would you do that?
Well,
you're jeopardising your
physically.
Your
how can you smoke a cigarette in a shower anyway?
Yeah. It's an interesting choice. Has he
got special waterproof ones?
You got all the coaches and the players around you. It's not like you're on your own.
I don't know what it is, man. But seriously, he's a liability in the big games. He cost us the game with Southampton. That game was a 0-0 all day long, and 2 lapses of concentration cost the game, so he deserved to be dropped. But however, I think the Wenger's probably giving him a rest. I think maybe in about the next 3 or 4 games he'll put him back in goal. I don't want him back though.
So obviously after this game now, do you think that Wenger's made a mental note? It's like, I'm going to play this way all the time, especially when he gets to the top league teams like Chelsea, Man City.
No, don't worry. Don't worry, we're not.
I think he's just learned his lesson from last season, and he's finally decided that he cannot outplay these teams away from home and play such a high line. And he's doing what everyone does to Arsenal when they beat them. And
so do you think he's going to put the same team up again, or do you think?
I feel like when we've got to play Man United away, Tottenham away,
same mentality, different team.
Yeah, I think it'd be a bit silly not to play the same mentality, because we were so effective and we were so comfortable, which is quite surprising to say, and you don't really see it that often with Arsenal.
We got lucky because there was no Toure.
Yeah,
no Toure. Couldn't open the door, so
Aguero just came back as well.
But obviously showing that you didn't need him.
Of course not, definitely. But you're right when you mention the big teams. With regards to White Hart Lane, we're not going to be that open against White Hart Lane because they will murder us, Tottenham, if we play like we normally play. Like you guys played a high line against them, they murdered you. Yeah. I don't. You know what I mean? So you can't allow... No, seriously.
So why do you think it's taken Wenger this long, obviously?
Stubborn.
Yeah,
he believes these players a bit too much.
I think that's the thing. There's a stubbornly there and not wanting to swallow his pride. I mean, the great credit to him is that's the type of result that Wenger is great at. That when admittedly the onus was on City, but when you least expected, when the medium fans least expected it, he came up with a result, and it shouldn't have been deemed a shock because Wenger's still got that in his locker. He's still got the capabilities to come up with a result as well.
We're not a small team. We're a top team still. Even we're a good side.
One of the oldest teams in London as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Fact for you.
Chelsea, Arsenal 1886, Spurs 1882, QPR 1882, Chelsea 1905.
Yeah, 1905. You got no history, right?
Oh dear. But I mean, tactics are one thing the other day, but the performance of the players to step up. I mean, it was fantastic to see someone like Coquelin who's got his chance again, and Cazorla and the defence and Giroud especially as well.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that because now they've upped up their game and obviously they had an amazing game at the weekend, do you think that all of the different players now are going to be wanting to have their time in the limelight to be man of the match?
Remember, we got some players come back like Ozil, Ramsey's finding his feet. We've got loads of players come back.
What's your opinion on Ozil?
I think he's a fantastic player. I think personally we should have built a side around him. We didn't, and to start so we don't play to his strengths. But he doesn't help himself. He's not physically. He's not in tune to the style of play.
I think someone who'll probably play him anyway, though, won't he?
Well, I think now, because the team's doing well, he can rest him and let him feel his way into the side. He didn't need him on Sunday, as you know, against Brighton in the weekend. He ain't going to need him then. We're going to need him maybe against Tottenham away.
And what's your opinion on the defence? Obviously, Wenger said the other day in a press conference that he's still looking for the perfect defence, but he didn't play Kieran. Did he play Kieran?
No, Gibbs he didn't play.
He played Nacho instead, didn't he?
Nacho's.
Who do you think, in your opinion, who's better, Nacho or Kieran? Because there's been a big debate on.
It's a tough
Twitter.
one. It's a tough
one. Yeah, we were talking about it earlier, weren't we?
Yeah.
You say Gibbs, and I say Monreal.
I think Gibbs is probably a bit more effective defensively. Nacho Monreal is very good going forward, but he's been caught out of position so many times, so many question marks around him. I feel that it was good to see Wenger saying he needs a defender, but as good as we were on Sunday, I think Mertesacker, there's a lot of question marks about Mertesacker, and Nacho Monreal, there's a few question marks about him, so maybe a left back and a centre back to come in.
You sound like John Terry. Like I said, John Terry's only looking good this season because he's getting protection from Matic and Mikel. Now, you can't have players running at John Terry like we have players running at Mertesacker. The midfield has to do its job in front. That's not what Arsenal do.
And are you both... Sorry, we will get on to...
No, I love talking about Arsenal.
Okay.
I love it.
Sorry. So, are you guys aware of your new signings? Palista and Bielik?
Well, like I said, we've got Bielik 17. He's obviously...
but do you think that... Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you think that Bielik's actually going to get played in the first team, or do you think that Wenger just wants him? He just wants him in his team because... Hang on, I've got it written down here. He's been noted as the Polish Patrick Vieira.
That's what Hennenberg said about him.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that's right? Vieira. I mean, this kid's just come out of nowhere. He's 17.
I think Patrick Vieira was 19 when he first, 1920 when he first came to us, and he developed really quickly. But I think you need to let him feel his way. Don't play him in the big games. We don't need him now.
He's only played 4 senior games his whole life, hasn't he?
So would you like to see him trained up and?
Yeah,
I think that he was brought in to be trained
Arsenal.
up. Yeah, I don't think he was brought in to.
But what if he goes on loan? See, I think he'll just get put on loan and he'll be forgotten about and then sold again.
No, not at all. Not at all. No. Like we sent Sonego on loan to Crystal Palace, and what we want him to do is learn the league. So when he comes back to us, he's going to be a top player. So I think he will go out on loan, but he will come back a better player. Szczesny went on loan to Brentford. Look at him.
Look at him now.
But yeah,
I think he's putting a lot of faith in Coquelin and Flamini and Arteta when he comes back, and I don't think he's going to try and get any more defensive midfielders now. He's got Bielik. He's going to try for a defender, but saying that, he's going to try and get a defender that isn't going to outshine Mertesacker or Koscielny, someone like a backup, because he obviously thinks Mertesacker's good enough. And
Koscielny's injury prone, though, isn't he?
Koscielny's injury prone. Yeah, he does complement Mertesacker quite well when they're both fit. And Mertesacker's 31 now. How long has he got left in him? He's losing pace all the time.
Definitely, but he never had it in the first place.
He never really had pace. I mean, he has gone into his shell a little bit, hasn't he?
Yeah.
When he first came to the game, it was like he looked a little bit out of his depth, and he's been clearly head and shoulders above most centre halves in the Prem, and all of a sudden it feels lately that
he's very hit and miss, isn't he, Mertesacker?
He had the World Cup.
Of course.
He plays for Germany where he gets protection. Arsenal, we don't give him no protection.
You've got to think that Hummels played most of the World Cup games, and they look so much stronger defensively when
He's
Hummels
terrible in the air, though, Kenny.
I know. That shocks me because
he's 6'4".
Well, you're a bit taller than that, but yeah.
My perfect height, actually. I like 6'4".
Giroud's 6'4".
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Coincidence.
No, but yeah. I think what's happened is that he's overconfident when he's there. He's like he does everything from a standing position where you'll like him to actually jump and attack the ball like John Terry does. So I am concerned about that.
It's very strange to see him back out like he did against Liverpool and Stoke. It's someone of his size. You can't be doing that. And someone like Steve Bold and Arsene Wenger especially have to tell him that. And I think they have, because he played very well against Hull in the Cup. He scored a goal. And he played very well against Man City the other day. So hopefully it will continue until the end of the season.
I hope so.
Okay, well, Alex, I think we're a bit fed up of hearing about Arsenal now, aren't we?
keep it coming. Keep it coming,
Let's move on to Man City. So obviously they've got Chelsea coming up in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Good timing for us.
yeah. I mean,
Good time
is
for
this
us.
going to decide the title? Do you think they've blown it now after
Nah,
the game
no,
with you guys?
absolutely.
Too many football games.
Yeah.
Remember,
They're
you think about it, before you lost against Newcastle, you were like, was it how many points back? 8 points ahead of them?
9.
9 points, you're 9 points. And then you lost against Newcastle, they clawed it back, and then you lost against Spurs, and they actually blew a chance to actually against Burnley when they were 2-0 up. So it's twists and turns.
I mean, well, the last year ended with exactly the same points. We were neck and neck. But now, obviously, we're above now.
Well, if you beat them at the bridge, then you have to assume that it's over. But if they avoid defeat and they're only 5 points ahead of you, then you'll have to assume with their players to come back.
But
It's not over.
What's happened to Man City, though? I mean, they're not the team that we've seen last year.
Well, Man City are not very good at defending the title. They won a title in 2012 and they had a very poor defence in 2013, and then they won a title, I believe, in spite of the fact they won a great Man City side. Liverpool and Arsenal blew it, and Chelsea blew it and let them back in.
Yeah.
But this season,
It's hard to say. I mean,
Yeah,
they brought in Mangala, and they were hoping that he would be the player to complement the company. He hasn't quite lived up to it, and Di Michaelis isn't quite good enough, really. Yeah, they're missing Yaya Toure, and Aguero got injured at the worst time, and they're so effective for them.
But none of the things with Man City is that every time they don't seem to strengthen the side. Like, I'm of the belief that when you win a title, you're meant to buy when you're strong. It's like 2 in, 2 out. Man City kept the same players. They haven't even freshened it up. So how
They have.